we are in Kingston, Oklahoma, which is just east of Ardmore, and we are at Leon's Greenhouses, and joining us today is Leon Sloan. And Leon, you're kind of known for your hoop houses. Can you tell us a little bit about how you even got started with hoop houses?
Well, I've been in the greenhouse business here for 57 years, and in December of '99 my gas bill was $21,120 for 1 month.
Wow.
And I couldn't stand that any longer. I knew I could not, and I was growing flowers at that time instead of vegetables. I had quit vegetables and went to flowers, but I realized it was time for now to me to switch over to food, because I can grow food without a high fuel bill. And so that's what we did in 2000. We started to growing food, and we were growing it in containers that had holes in the bottom. We had to water, you either get it too wet or not wet enough, and it just a mess for everybody to have to worry about. So
tell me a little bit about what the hoop houses provided. I mean, obviously it was nice not having that electric bill that your greenhouses offered, but tell me what you got for your plants with a hoop house. What sort of protection it provided?
Well, it's protection from the weather. I mean, you don't have any heating in that. It's strictly a just a coverage over your plants, but we've learned how to use double row crop covers over them and make it where it's not as cold in there, because we can't afford the price of the fuel to grow the food. So we've done that to keep the cold out.
Right.
And we also have, you know, excessive hail. You need the protection from the hail on your crops. You need the protection from the high winds. We're getting some 70 to 80 mile an hour winds now that blows the crops around, and this stops the wind from blowing.
I would suspect that you don't have as many pests grazing on your plants either.
It does help the population until sometimes they do get a population of aphids or something like that, you know, that you can control pretty well. And the deer is another thing. You know, we've gotten so many deer in our country nowadays that we're trying to keep them from eating our crops up, so they don't come in these houses if you keep the doors closed or something like that.
Right. And I would say, I mean, we just took our jackets off to come inside here. It's late in November, and we've already experienced, you know, single digits almost with freezes or feel-like temperatures.
Right.
I mean, it's warm in here, and there is no external electricity or heating. It's just passive heating.
That's correct. There's no heat in here of any kind except for the sun shining through it. It does get cold in here in the nighttime. I mean, but we've found out that and I didn't even cover these when it got down to 18 down here last week. You see how the crops are still doing fine in here, even though we got down to 18 degrees. But if it's going to get down any colder than that, we will put a row crop cover over them and give it another protection inside. Because we've even taken tomatoes down to 16 degrees and not lose them, and 10 inches of snow outside and 16 degrees. And we kept our tomato plants alive, and that was in February.
So you're actually able to grow warm season crops almost year round in this hoop house.
Part of the year, let's play that.
Okay.
Let's be honest.
Definitely season extension.
Yeah, but we do, yes, instead of waiting until April and May to put out your tomatoes, now we put them out the early part of February. And then also in the fall, when you start having to freeze, if I've got tomatoes or something growing, or peppers, I can extend it on down another month or so with this high tunnel. So that's the reason we think we need, or we know we need, these covers like this to extend our seasons.
Well, I know hoop houses are becoming more and more popular because you don't need electricity to them, and so you're able to put them in different sites where you might not have electricity. I hear you're speaking at something coming up for people that might want more information about this.
Well, yeah, it's coming up in January, I guess, in Tulsa, that they're asking me to speak on a Friday afternoon about these wicking buckets and about the high tunnels.
And so what could people expect to hear from you maybe at that conference?
Well, they've asked me to speak about how the seasons have changed from the time I started gardening 75 years ago up until today. So that's what I'm going to try to bring to them, is how it has changed in the 75 years we're talking about.
Well, it definitely has changed, and Leon, I've enjoyed hearing a lot of your stories and things like that, and also just learning from you. Okay. So thank you for sharing, and we look forward to hearing at the Horticulture Industry Show coming up in January.
Thank you for coming and seeing me.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.